Hi guys, welcome back to Doris Healthy Tasty Meals. How you guys doing today? So today I want to show you how to make meat pie, okay, using the meat you have at home. So the recipe I'm using, this meat, this is already parboiled meat, seasoned and cooked. I'll be using it. This is my crayfish, this is my Irish potato, tiny sliced. This is my carrots and my cabbage. Okay, so these are some of the recipes I'll be using for this meat pie sauce. So first I want to blend my crayfish. So after blending it, I'll cut the meat into tiny pieces and start making the meat pie sauce. Okay, so like the meat I'm using, you must not always use like corned beef or buy the already maybe blended meat from the stores, the packaged ones. You can use the meat you have at home. Okay, what you just need to do is like this one that I have. This is seasoned and cooked. I kind of cook it and keep. I can use it, make soup, use anything, cook anything I want. So today I wanted to make meat pie and I want to use from there. So I'm kind of slicing it into tiny shapes. Then I will blend it. So even if you don't have blender, and you still want to make meat pie, you can still maybe cut it into tiny shape and then use your mortar or whatever you have to pound it into like a smoother, just as I'm doing here, but I'm using my blender. So I usually like using this meat than buying from the stores, that already have maybe preservatives. Using the fresh meat you have direct from the market, for me, is way better. So after blending it to, my desired texture, I kind of make it a bit lumpy, not that totally smooth. I'll go ahead and start prepping the sauce. So the next I'm adding to it is that is the Irish potato, this is the carrot and the cabbage. So I'm going to add them together. Then this my crayfish, like I said, the meat was already seasoned. If not, if you're using just fresh meat, you need to put the meat on fire first, season it, cook it a little before you start adding these veggies. But because the meat was already, seasoned, so I'm adding everything together. The curry, the nutmeg, the salt, just season it the way it tastes good for you. Okay, so after that I give it a stir, make sure that everything mix properly. Your seasonings has your veggies and the meat has the touch of the seasonings you are using. So give it a good mix to make sure that it's fully combined. Then to add as a thickener, I'll be adding a tablespoon of flour. I'm using a whole wheat flour, so you can use any flour you have. If you're using oats flour, fine, just to kind of make the sauce look a bit thickened. Because without this flour, although this is optional, some might still want to just prepare it like that, but with this flour it looks somehow thick. Everything will be a kind of hold together. So I'm adding a cup of water. Remember, the Irish potato need to be a bit soft before you start using it. So the water I add, I kind of still try to make sure that you stir it properly. Then after stirring it properly, I'm going to cover it and let it cook for like 3 minutes. Yeah, so before I put it out, let it cool and start preparing for the meat pie dough. You can always taste your sauce if you need to add a little more salt, or if you want to add any flavor that you still want, you can always do that. So it's always advisable to make your sauce the way we enjoy it best. Like these recipes I'm using here, it's not like a stamp to say this is what you must use. But if you're making meat pie, yes, meat is compulsory. So kind of make your sauce the best way you know how. So this is added flavor. This is bell pepper, just to add little more flavor to the sauce. Okay, let me say a tablespoon of bell pepper was what I added. So you see that the sauce now, everything looked combined together. It's not that scattering, this is there, this is there. They are just kind of hold together because of that flour I added. So I want to taste the Irish potato to know if it's soft enough, and it is. So now it's to put the sauce out and then set it aside to completely cool down. So for the meat pie dough, I'll be using like 3 cups of whole wheat flour. I usually like sieving it one at a time. It's advisable to do this so that if there's anything hidden in the flour, your sieve can easily get it out. Okay, because you wouldn't want to eat what you don't know. I always say that. So with this, I kind of sieve it a cup, and 3 cups. This is the 3rd cup. Giving it a quick sieve. So if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do that, and I will appreciate. And also, that is a teaspoon of baking powder and a teaspoon of salt, a 2 tablespoons of coconut sugar. I prefer using this coconut sugar because it's far more better than the regular sugar. So if you have the regular sugar, fine. But if you still want to kind of eat a little bit clean, be selective of what you eat, be selective of your ingredients, I think that will help. So I kind of give it a whisk to make sure that the dry ingredients are fully incorporated. So I'll be using 2 large eggs to mix it. If you are maybe say a vegetarian and you don't like egg, you might use a plant milk like almond milk or peanut milk to add little softness to the dough. So I'm using 2 large eggs. This other 1 egg will be used as a wash on the body, so that's why you're seeing it there. So I'm adding it gradually so that it will just blend into the flour. Later I'll be using my hand, but not immediately. So this, I added a tablespoon of olive oil. Some might choose to use butter, but like I said, I try to minimize the fat I consume. So instead of using butter, I used olive oil. All this is to kind of make the dough to be kind of soft when you are eating it, and you can still still apply another skill even during the baking process to still soften the meat pie. So just mix it like this. See it, when you hold it together, it's a kind of hold and it still crumbles back. So I used a cup of water, but I added it little by little. Okay, so you might get just maybe a cup of water and start adding it little by little so that you don't add too much water to the dough. It mustn't be watery, it has to be hard. Yes, to touch, not that very hard, like, you know. So here I am still adding the water little by little, mixing them. So in case there is step maybe you need further explanation for, you can just say it on the comment section. I will be happy to, reply to that. But these are the things I can remember now. So just keep mixing it, mixing it, mixing it. You see, just feel the texture. It's not that soft, it's not that hard. So see how it is. So I'm going to use my transparent wrap and wrap it. I think I've just worked it enough, not that enough for the mixture for now. I've just kind of mixed everything properly. So with this wrap, I'm going to wrap it and keep it to rest for like 30 minutes. Some persons like putting it in the fridge, but I think because I did not use butter, I'm not afraid of the butter melting away, so I didn't put it in the fridge. So you mustn't put it in the fridge. Is if you're using butter, maybe some large amount of butter, and you don't want the butter to melt. After maybe working on it like this, you have to put it in the fridge so that the butter will still remain, somehow together with the dough. But if you leave it on a warm surface, the butter may melt and the dough will become so oily and somehow difficult for you to work with. But because I'm not using butter, no need of putting it in the fridge. Okay, so after 30 minutes I brought it out. I just need to knead it a little. So here is it. So I'm kneading it to, smoothen and soften it the more. So you can just, I knead it for like, let's say 10 minutes or less. So I'll just show you how it looks. So you can feel the smoothness is getting more smooth. So this is a speed up video. You can just do it gently. You don't want the gluten to build that much. Of course, when you leave it to rest, gluten start building, but you don't want it to be that too muchly built. But because it's also thick, it's still also okay. So here is it. I've just cut it into two parts and want to start cutting it to the meat pie size I want. So I want to start with the first one, try to roll it out a bit. All right, guys, subscribe. Thank you. So I've cut, these are the sizes of the meat pie I want. So you still kind of choose your style. So instead of using flour, I kind of sprinkle oil on it because the dough doesn't need more flour, because if it is hard already and you're using flour, it kind of sucks the flour and it gets tougher. So but if maybe your own is a bit soft, maybe you unintentionally add too much water for it, you can use flour to continue the process. But instead of flour, I used olive oil, just some drizzle touch on it. So we are now rolling out the meat pie. Is it meat pie yet? I think it's the dough. It's the dough yet. And if you have your meat pie cutter, after rolling it out like this, you put it on the meat pie cutter. Yeah, if you don't know what meat pie cutter is, simply ask people that sells baking materials. They will show you what meat pie cutter is. At this point, I could not find mine, but I find alternative. This is a cover of my plate. I kind of place it on it, give it a hard press, to give it that round cut. Here is it, looking so beautiful. So then I'm going to add the sauce. This one is actually the first one, and the sauce here is quite much. I was thinking that the sauce was going to be more than enough, so I added much to this one. Anyway, it's something you're preparing for yourself. You don't need to manage. So after sealing it with your hand, okay, then I'll now use the fork to add some designs to the tips. So if you have had the meat pie cutter, it will just do this design for you, this thing that I'm doing manually. So it will just do it for you. Okay, so here is it. Hope it's looking beautiful. And that is that one. The joy of making some of these snacks at home is that you are sure of the recipes, the ingredients you use. You don't know how it is prepared out there. I watched a video sometimes ago, like somebody making the, is it corned beef, or how do I put it? Do I say chicken corned beef? chicken, and they were using all these tiny little chicks, grinding it with the blood, with the feather, with this, in fact, everything. They were just putting it in the grinder, grinding everything together. Next they package it, next they ship it. I was like, is it how this is done? So I became so discouraged, so I just kind of stopped buying those things. So I rather do it. It doesn't take time. Buy the meat from the market, put it within 5 minutes, you've blended it. So this is my oven. Yeah, I put it in 90 degree. It doesn't have this calculation or this reading. I set it by myself. So when I put it down there, this is 180 degree. So if you have something like this and you hear people saying put it in 90 degree, put it in 180 degree, so those are the setting. The other first point is 90 degree. The down point is 180 degree. As I showed you, might just go back and watch it again. And at first I set it in 90 degree and let the oven heat for like 5 minutes. So I came back to quickly, finish up what I was doing. So if you hear somebody say put it in 90 degree and let it heat, and you're wondering your oven doesn't have those calculations like mine, that is how it's done. Any question, please let me know in the comment section. So I think this should be the last stage of my meat pie roll. All right, so just give it that and put it back. So here they are. I think I got up to 9. Yeah. Then the next is to kind of apply egg on the body. But like I mentioned, if you don't like egg, you can just go ahead and use your olive oil at this point. This is a kind of somehow heat protector and also color activator. This gives it that glowy, shiny color. Okay, so it's good to make what you're eating attractive. So let's give it that shiny, glowy color. so the olive oil can still do the work. Like I said, it's somehow heat protector. It makes the dough will not take too much heat to make it so crispy or get it burned so quickly. But if you don't, you kind of keep an eye on it, watch your oven, it might still get burnt. It almost happened to me because I kind of put it in the oven and went to do something else. Now, mothers, you always have something to do. And before I could get back, it almost get burnt. So this is the leftover, in case you're wondering what to do with it. You can still roll it, just that the sauce has finished. I would have still rolled it and make it another pie, but just to cut the pieces and make it into chin chin and bake for 15 minutes. So here is it. After baking for 15 minutes. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I so much appreciate you. Remember to subscribe, like, share this video to your loved ones that might like it. I hope to see you again in my next video. Thank you so much. Bye.